So, Prince William just uncovered something so dark, so calculated, and so deeply personal inside Camilla's inner circle that it has officially sent seismic shockwaves through the entire British monarchy. This isn't just another royal disagreement or a quiet disagreement behind closed palace doors. We are talking about an absolute betrayal that hits at the very core of Princess Diana's tragic legacy. The moment Kensington Palace confirmed what Camilla's daughter, Laura Lopes, was caught allegedly trying to execute in total secrecy, the entire royal household realized there was no going back. We are talking about priceless, historic pieces of Princess Diana's personal jewelry, items that were promised to her grieving sons over 2 decades ago, suddenly being flagged in a high-end, private auction scheme under a completely civilian disguise. When William saw the leaked images and verified the paper trail, his reaction was cold, immediate, and utterly ruthless. He didn't call for a family meeting, and he certainly didn't ask Camilla for an explanation. Instead, he unleashed a scorched-earth legal response that has left Clarence House in absolute panic. But what William discovered next was a twist so disturbing, it proves this was only the tip of an iceberg that could tear the crown apart forever. To truly grasp why this confrontation has reached a point of absolute warfare, you have to understand the decades of buried resentment, toxic palace politics, and raw pain that have been simmering beneath the surface between Prince William and Camilla's side of the family. For over 25 years, the public has watched a carefully crafted PR transformation. We watched as Camilla was slowly, methodically rebranded from the most hated woman in Britain into the Queen Consort. But behind the polished appearances and strategic media leaks, the internal wounds inside the royal family never actually healed. For Prince William and Prince Harry, the shadow of their mother's tragic death in 1997 hung over every single decision, every title shift, and every new face brought into the royal estate system. When King Charles married Camilla, it didn't just bring her into the royal fold, it brought her children, Laura Lopes and Tom Parker Bowles, into the outer orbit of massive wealth, elite access, and historic royal properties. While Laura Lopes largely kept a low public profile, running art galleries and moving in ultra-wealthy civilian circles, insider sources reveal that the tension between her and William was always razor-sharp. William was fiercely protective of anything that belonged to his late mother. He viewed Diana's personal estate, her letters, her private gowns, and especially her iconic jewelry collection, as sacred historical artifacts meant strictly for her direct descendants, namely Kate Middleton and eventually Princess Charlotte. However, behind the scenes, the management of royal heirlooms had long been a gray area. Following Diana's passing, a vast collection of her personal items was placed in secure, off-the-record repositories, including designated vaults at Highgrove. Over the years, as Camilla established her dominance within the royal household, rumors began circulating among senior palace staff that certain items were quietly being shuffled around, placed in private trusts, or kept off the official Crown Estate registry. William had always been suspicious. Whispers from former royal aides suggest that William had warned his father multiple times that Camilla's family was getting far too close to assets that did not belong to them. For years, an uneasy silence held the peace. William focused on his duties, his growing family, and preparing for his eventual role as king. But as King Charles's health struggles became a major public concern in recent months, the balance of power inside the palace shifted dramatically. With Charles stepping back from certain high-profile duties, an aggressive jockeying for influence began behind the scenes. Insiders report that Camilla's team began moving with unprecedented speed to secure financial positions, private estates, and family trusts before any formal transition of power could take place. William, operating with the sharp precision of a future king who refuses to be compromised, had already put his own intelligence and legal teams on high alert. He wasn't just monitoring state finances, he was keeping a direct eye on every item connected to his mother's memory. Former palace security officials leak that William had set up a strict, confidential tracking system for all royal heirlooms, specifically watching out for suspicious movements in international auction houses and private appraisal firms. He knew that if anyone attempted to monetize Diana's legacy, it would happen quietly, far away from the public eye, disguised as a routine civilian transaction. The stage was set, the hatred was deep, and the explosive clash between Prince William and Camilla's daughter was no longer a matter of if, it was a ticking time bomb waiting for the ultimate spark. That spark didn't just ignite, it exploded in the most breathtaking, ruthless way imaginable inside the quiet offices of Kensington Palace. It all went down when a senior staff member in William's private intelligence unit was reviewing incoming, confidential documentation from a world-renowned London auction house. Staring at the high-resolution catalog photos on screen, the staffer's heart instantly stopped. There, listed under an anonymous civilian client file, were two distinct, irreplaceable pieces of high-end historic jewelry, a mesmerizing, vintage black diamond pendant suspended on an intricate chain, and a breathtaking sapphire bracelet. The pieces were logged for private appraisal, catalogued under standard civilian terms, and intentionally stripped of any official royal lineage to avoid raising red flags. Except there was one massive problem for the seller: those pieces were unmistakable. They were documented in private palace archives as personal items worn publicly by Princess Diana in the mid-1990s. They were items that had mysteriously vanished from official inventories over 2 decades ago, supposedly kept in secure holding at Highgrove. Within less than 15 minutes, the shocking discovery was brought directly to Prince William. When the heir to the throne looked at the catalog sheets and read the paper trail linking the private appraisal request directly to a personal representative of Laura Lopes, Camilla's daughter, witnesses say the room turned dead silent. William didn't yell. He didn't slam doors. A terrifying, icy stillness fell over him. Leaked internal palace memos reveal that Laura Lopes had allegedly attempted to pass the items through a complex chain of private appraisers, claiming they were private family gifts handed down through non-royal channels. By attempting to get them officially catalogued under a civilian name, the goal was clear: establish a legal paper trail of private ownership, erase the royal provenance, and prepare them for a multi-million-dollar private sale to an overseas billionaire collector. It was a masterclass in quiet greed, or so she thought. William's reaction was explosive in its execution. Bypassing his father, bypassing Camilla, and completely ignoring standard royal protocol, William immediately contacted his elite legal team at Farrer and Company. He ordered an emergency freeze on all communications regarding the items and personally initiated a high-stakes investigation. But just as William was preparing to confront Clarence House directly, the first massive, jaw-dropping twist hit the press like a sledgehammer. A leaked text message, allegedly sent from an insider within Laura's team to a high-profile media contact, was accidentally intercepted and posted on social media. The text read, "The cataloging is complete. K-Palace has no idea. Once the appraisal clears, the funds transfer to the Delaware Trust before the end of the month." The moment that leak hit the internet, royal fans exploded into a frenzy of rage. Twitter and Instagram were flooded with millions of posts condemning Camilla's family. But as the panic reached a fever pitch inside Clarence House, a far more devastating revelation surfaced: Laura Lopes didn't just act on her own. Leaked legal drafts show that the documents authorizing the transfer of those jewels out of the Highgrove repository bore a secret, high-level authorization code, a code that could only belong to someone inside Queen Camilla's absolute innermost circle. William realized instantly that this wasn't just a daughter acting out of greed, this was a coordinated, high-level palace heist designed to strip Diana's legacy right out from under his nose. Escalation and shocking reveal. The moment William discovered that authorization code, the conflict escalated from a bitter family dispute into a full-blown constitutional crisis. William moved with terrifying speed and precision. Instead of engaging in a media war, he pulled off a financial move that left Camilla's entire household reeling in absolute shock. Weeks prior, sensing that financial games were being played in the dark, William had quietly executed a massive restructuring of the Duchy of Cornwall's commercial portfolio. He liquidated over £500 million in real estate assets and instantly shut down a network of private, grey-area trusts that had been quietly routing funds toward Camilla's extended family for over 20 years. When Camilla found out her family's financial lifelines had been completely severed in a single afternoon, chaos broke out inside Clarence House. Financial advisors were scrambling, emergency calls were being placed, and Camilla reportedly confronted William in a heated, closed-door standoff. but William didn't back down an inch. He looked the Queen Consort dead in the eye and made it clear that any attempt to touch his mother's legacy or siphon crown wealth would result in absolute ruin. Then came the second shocking reveal, one that turned this dramatic feud into an international news explosion. On the morning of May 24th, at precisely 5:30 a.m., High Court enforcement officers and legal representatives acting directly on William's orders arrived at a private estate linked to the transaction in Wiltshire. Serving an emergency Mariva injunction, the most aggressive asset-freezing tool available under British law, officers officially seized the black diamond pendant and the sapphire bracelet, placing them under heavy armed guard. Laura Lopes' private accounts tied to the transaction were completely frozen instantly. News of the raid leaked within hours, and the media response was unprecedented. Financial outlets like Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal began reporting on massive, sudden account freezes tied to prominent British figures. On Twitter, ##Royal Jewel Heist and #William vs Camilla spiked to the #1 trending topics worldwide with over 2 million tweets in less than 6 hours. High-profile commentators and royal experts went live on major television networks, wildly debating what was happening behind palace walls. One viral tweet from a prominent investigative journalist read, "We are witnessing the absolute collapse of the royal truce. Prince William has drawn a line in the sand, and Camilla's family just walked right into a lethal legal trap." Camilla's legal team tried to fight back, desperately attempting to claim sovereign immunity to protect her daughter from the mounting legal fallout. But William's lawyers delivered a devastating blow. Sovereign immunity only applies to the reigning monarch and the Queen Consort. It does not protect private civilian relatives caught in possession of misappropriated crown property. Camilla was completely powerless. Her daughter was legally trapped, her financial channels were destroyed, and her public reputation was hanging by a thread. But just when William believed he had completely crushed the operation and secured his mother's items, a forensic audit of the Highgrove vault uncovered a terrifying second twist that sent a cold wave of horror through Kensington Palace. As details of the forensic audit began leaking to the press, the public and media reaction transformed into a roaring wildfire of outrage, speculation, and fierce division. The internet completely divided into two warring camps, making this the most explosive social media battle in royal history. On one side, millions of fiercely loyal Princess Diana fans and Prince William supporters took to TikTok, YouTube, and X to voice their absolute fury. Viral videos analyzing old footage of Diana wearing the black diamond pendant garnered tens of millions of views in a matter of days. Comment sections were flooded with emotional messages. "Diana is still fighting from beyond the grave through William," wrote one user, while another commented, "Camilla's family thought they could quietly sell off Diana's history? William is an absolute hero for crushing them." On the other side, defensive statements began leaking from anonymous sources close to Camilla's circle, attempting to spin the story and paint Laura Lopes as an innocent victim of a massive royal misunderstanding. Pro-Camilla commentators appeared on news broadcasts claiming that the jewelry had been gifted legally decades ago and accusing Prince William of acting like a ruthless, power-hungry tyrant trying to publicly humiliate his stepmother. Fake Twitter threads allegedly written by palace insiders began trending, accusing William of using the legal system to wage a personal vendetta and create a dictatorship before he even takes the throne. Celebrities and international commentators couldn't resist jumping into the chaotic debate. Major American talk show hosts dedicated entire opening monologues to the scandal, poking fun at the dark, Shakespearean drama unfolding inside Buckingham Palace. Hollywood stars were seen liking viral posts condemning the alleged sale, while elite fashion icons publicly praised Kate Middleton for standing stoically by William's side throughout the crisis. The controversy grew so intense that major international auction houses had to issue emergency press releases assuring the public that their appraisal processes were strictly legal, desperate to distance themselves from the radioactive scandal. The media circus reached an absolute fever pitch when Prince William and Kate Middleton made their first public appearance following the legal raid. Appearing at a high-profile formal engagement, Kate walked out wearing a stunning, documented piece of Princess Diana's jewelry right on her wrist, a brilliant, silent symbol of absolute victory. Photos of Kate wearing the piece, juxtaposed against icy images of Camilla looking visibly shaken at the same event, dominated the front pages of every major newspaper across the globe. The headline on the Daily Mail read, "The Silent Recovery, Kate wears Diana's legacy as Camilla stands in shadows." But while the public celebrated William's ruthless victory, the dark truth uncovered by the forensic audit was about to erupt into a global disaster. Because when the High Court forensic auditors completed their deep dive inspection of the Highgrove repository vaults, they didn't just find a routine paperwork error, they uncovered a chilling, nightmare scenario that left Prince William completely stunned. The two pieces seized from Laura Lopes, the pendant and the bracelet, were not the only items that had been removed from the royal vault. The official historical record confirmed that the repository originally held 14 distinct, priceless artifacts belonging to Princess Diana. William had recovered 12 priceless items were still completely missing. And where had those 12 irreplaceable items been sent? The forensic paper trail, leaked from a classified Ministry of Justice file, revealed a complex web of offshore shell companies designed specifically to bypass British jurisdiction entirely. The 12 missing artifacts had already been secretly flown out of the United Kingdom, routed through international channels, and placed inside an anonymous holding firm registered in the state of Delaware, USA. British search warrants and High Court injunctions were completely useless across the Atlantic. Whoever organized this masterclass in asset smuggling knew exactly how to keep those jewels forever out of Prince William's reach. But the most horrifying revelation was buried at the very bottom of the leaked audit file. Attached to the offshore transfer logs was a confidential operational codename used by the group managing the Delaware accounts. The codename listed in the official file was the Montecito Connection. The room inside Kensington Palace went completely frozen. Montecito, California, the exact, world-famous location where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle built their new life after stepping down from the royal family. Was Camilla's inner circle working secretly with someone in California to smuggle Diana's legacy out of the country? Or had Prince Harry been quietly claiming his own share of his mother's hidden fortune behind William's back all along? William had won the battle in London, but he had just discovered a far bigger, far darker war spanning across the globe. The missing 12 jewels are out there, a massive betrayal has been exposed, and the ultimate showdown between the brothers and the palace is about to explode into the light. This is an absolute royal nuclear bomb, and the drama is far from over. What do you think about Prince William's ruthless response? Was he right to unleash the full force of the law against Camilla's family, or did he go too far? And what about that terrifying Montecito connection? Do you believe Harry and Meghan are secretly involved in holding those 12 missing jewels, or is Camilla's circle trying to frame them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below right now. I want to see a massive debate in the comment section. If you were shocked by this revelation, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with every royal fan you know, and smash that subscribe button with notifications turned on. We are actively tracking the Delaware legal filings and the incoming updates from Montecito, and you do not want to miss our explosive follow-up episode dropping very soon. Thank you for watching Crown Watch, and stay tuned, because the truth is finally coming to light.